Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. You seen in the title, you're going to hear something that Crimson Cure has to say. My disagreement is not any anger or beef. It's not that. It is a disagreement, though. She may be able to come back with evidence one day to support her stance, in which case I'd say, okay, well, yeah, you backed it up. Right now, though, all I have is what I've seen. I want to play the part that is of interest in this case.
Moving on to the actual subject matter of this video, why they like Pookies and Ray Rays. Like I said, the myth busting is not because the Pookies and Ray Rays are sexier, and it don't have nothing to do with that. These women are attracted to better men. These women are attracted to the men in the community that's got something going, that's doing good, that's, you know what I'm saying, that's not in this craziness and this foolishness and all. They love them men. These women can't wait to get a man like that. But she told you what it was when she said she's lonely, right? She's talking about being lonely, and why can't you go back to the last guy or call someone to give you attention? That is what she's talking about, because these guys are easy to deal with. It don't take you healing to go get with them guys. As a matter of fact, a healed woman could never do nothing with them guys. It take a broken woman to deal with those guys because those guys are broken.
Now, this is where she and I diverge in our opinion. I genuinely believe that the Western black woman may not be born as such that she's going to wind up attracted to this kind of guy, but I believe that with all my heart, from the bottom of my black heart and from the depth of my black mind, I believe that the Western black woman, by the time she reaches puberty, she has been socialized to not even know the difference between manhood and machismo. As a matter of fact, I take that back. I believe that by the time a Western black woman is pubescent, she confuses machismo for manhood and masculinity. And she confuses manhood with milk toast. Milk toast meaning being a lame. So, in a nutshell, that's the Clark Kent. Once you become a responsible man, you are Clark Kent. And she can't see why it is that a man would take that path and be that responsible. And in her mind, there's no reason for that. In her mind, that's white stuff. And when life catches up with her, wears her down, and she starts wanting something else, at that point, what and whom she wants will shift. Zaddy is okay. A niggerilla stereotype is okay. But a black man that is not a stereotype is not okay. A black man that gets a house next to Zaddy, becomes his neighbor, that's not okay. He sold out. He doesn't know who he is in her mind, because in her mind, he is supposed to be the niggerilla. See, when I use that word, I understand it's very loaded. It's very racist. I don't view us this way. But sometimes in order to explain the phenomena, you have to have a word for the way somebody else views you. And that's how I had to explain this. I came up with that term to understand how, or to explain to you how we are viewed and how we are judged by Western sisters. But the reason I had to come up with some kind of way to explain that is because, and I also use itness for that. IDNS. But I had to use these terms to explain how she views and assesses you, because you and I are also trained and socialized to view ourselves through her eyes, while she views us through the eyes of white supremacy. Sister Davis, Assalamu alaikum to you. Shouts out. I got to disagree on this one, and I have to point it out. They're not organically attracted to guys that are doing something. In many cases, there may be a few exceptions. They're not organically attracted to responsible black men. Responsible black men can hit genetic lottery markers in certain cases. They can have the height, they can have the muscle. Those are the guys who have girls from a distance having secret crushes on them. But they don't actually get validated. That just doesn't happen. I know. My childhood friend, Garfield Bright, was the nickname because he looks like that dude Garfield on that group Shy. Was like that. Responsible dude. And he had them hands. You didn't whoop him in a fight. He never started nothing. He wasn't aggressive. But you wasn't going to whip him. He fought to protect his sister. You wasn't going to whip this man. Kill on the basketball court. Somebody fouled him, he knocked him out. I mean, Garfield knocked out the guy that fouled him. Wasn't no chump, wasn't no punk, but he wasn't no thug. Nice dude, real nice dude. He never got a chance to get with someone that was as drop dead gorgeous as he was killer fine to sisters. And they would say he was. But when they would actually date him, they themselves didn't look the part. That was the end of it. We all had talked about this to him and said, look, bro, when they're sitting bit of mind you from a distance, why are you winding up with the ones you're winding up with? Now, I eventually said, why are you winding up with the ones that are immature? Because some of them are stupid or silly and childish. I had to ask him, why are you winding up with them? He wound up getting with a girl that was cute, but shouldn't have been with him. And she still cheated on him. He married her and she cheated on him now. He left when he caught her cheating. He recently got married again. She's cute. She's nice to look at. She also has health concerns. No STDs that I know of, but just she's been hospitalized. And it's not something that I know of to be her fault, but I have to ask that question again. I keep having to ask the same question for him I had to ask for myself. If she didn't have this, would she have been with him? What is it? He's a nice dude. His self-esteem may have taken a hit because he was adopted from a young age, but the thing is, he and his sister were adopted, but still the issue is that he never showed even signs of low self-esteem. So what does that tell you? It's not, he was not held back in the market because of something wrong with him. He was held back in the market because of what was not wrong with him. He wasn't a niggerilla, stereotype and itness. That's what that came down to. Wasn't a dude around would have said he's soft. He could be a nice dude, a nice guy, and not be thought of as being soft by cats. It was a hyena bitches that assessed him. And they said, if I'm attractive, he's too soft. Now, if I'm not that attractive, then he's a catch. But if I'm attractive, he's too soft. Because not being a thug was too soft. He's just one example. That's all. I mean, for me, I started scrapping, and that was when some of them started paying more attention. But as soon as I moved and left my hometown and went to Atlanta, I started all over again. I didn't have any fights in Atlanta. I was too old. But I looked like I didn't fight and couldn't fight. Oh, so that's what the hell's going on here. I see. So I got to be inappropriately older than her to make up for it. Like I'm in college, she's in high school, that type thing. Or hell, maybe even middle school. Or she got to already be done had somebody else's baby. She got to have nothing going on for her in her life after high school. It became things like that. She got to have self-esteem because of something. It's got to be that. This is something that a lot of us black men have faced, and we haven't had to have something seriously wrong with us to face it. It's determined who we're with and who we're not with. And it's always going to. And it's going to be that way until we pass away. We're not going to be able to bring about a better situation to pass down to our sons and our younger brothers, our nephews, until enough of us leave. And if you can't leave the country, you still have to leave the community. Black men have to be a separate community from black women, partially because it is. Now, how's the community's population going to remain after our generation dies out? Well, we can't have kids with the Western sisters, so we're going to have them with someone else. But in the West, it does make a difference who it is. If she's Western, so we got to leave. We can only couple and pair bond with non-Western women. They will not be ADOS. That's what it comes down to. It's not, no, Kendra, they don't look at us and love us in most cases. Those are a few exceptions in it. But if they do, they're going to let their friends talk them out of it. There is still a genuine attraction for the broken dudes because to them, a broken black man is what he's supposed to be anyway. And there's the power dynamic. But understand, they don't accept the same power dynamic from us. It's okay for him to not have anything. It's okay for him to not really be able to call shots. That's fine. It's not okay for one of us responsible black men to not be calling shots because we're either relaxed or we're laid back or we're just not experienced enough. Or we're letting her show us who she is by giving her choices to make. Because believe me, I've been on both sides of that fence too before I became Muslim. I've been relaxed and I've been really coordinated and planned and all that and shown that I've got a purpose and a mind and I've done all that. And when I planned a date like sisters are saying they want men to do now, I was too orchestrated, too coordinated. And then on the flip side, when I was relaxed and I said, now, this is something you get to pick. Then I was indecisive and wishy-washy. And I've been both to the same woman in the same weekend and she wasn't even American. She was Caribbean. I've been that. And it didn't matter which way I went. I was going to be too much of one thing or the other. And I had to stop. And this is someone that had actually liked me. And I have to stop and I got to think, what the hell did I do I had to at that time stop and think, what the hell did I do? Well, I couldn't read her. She's still a Western black woman. Couldn't read her mind. That was enough. And therefore, I got my mind made up at this point. They're looking for something to be wrong, and that's the end of it. And if they like you and they don't come across that which is wrong with you, they can't stay with you. Something seriously wrong. Because when you are black and you are responsible and you're not the stereotype, at that point, what is wrong with you is that you're not a man. Only Zaddy gets to be responsible and routine and predictable and secure and still be a man. Only he gets to do that. Actually, if you're Zaddy friendly, like if you're Chinese or you're Korean, you might get away with something like that because they've had their foot on somebody else's necks, especially the Chinese. So they might be able to get away with that. You know, when you see a black woman that's willing to get with another man of color, but he's not white and he's not black, her ability to be attracted to that man usually depends on her view of that man's people in relation to black people. Have you noticed? If she looks at the Latin American as being not in a better position than us, then she doesn't want him. But if she looks at the Latin American as being not only in a better position, but as having their foot on our necks, then she can want one of them too. If she sees the Chinese man as being able to dominate the black man, then she wants him. That's fine too. But if she sees him as not really being that well adjusted to life in the West yet because he ain't been there as long as the black man, she don't want him. The black man that other races of men cannot come along and dominate so easily, well, by simply out succeeding him, well, those are the ones that she doesn't want. We've sat and watched this play itself out for days and years and decades at this point. What they're looking for, until the day that we just went out and started by force annihilating not necessarily the Pookies, but those who even look or dress like they might be Pookies and ain't even doing nothing wrong or criminal. They're not going to respect us. And I don't think we should do that. I really don't. I mean, you may do it in self-defense, yeah, because you have to. That's when somebody comes and messes with you because he really wants to show everybody what a Pookie he is. But in terms of them just being a stereotype, not necessarily harmful or dangerous to you, no, I'm not going to say go after them. I mean, I raise kids around them, but I'm not saying go after them. And truth be told, you definitely shouldn't do it in order to win over the Western hyena broad. And here's why. Because see, if you did that to win her over, she will turn and help him out against you. If there really was going to be some gunfights going on the basis of class and behavior between Western black men, she's going to side with the one that she's now screwing, and against the one she says needs to come back into the community and raise the other one's baby. She wouldn't say, well, you know, they're showing showing us their manhood. She would never say that. She would say, oh, well, see, he a sellout, baby, but you a real nigga. Because she's Sapphire. And the next one I'm going to go ahead and record on the definition of Sapphire. And why I call her Sapphire, but that's not going to be for free. Kendra, this isn't a beef, but I just don't agree. And usually I learn a lot from you in terms of the reasons that sisters do what they do in the games they play, and how bad the motives are, and how much there is a hatred. I actually learn from you because you do expose a lot of information. Shout out to you. But when it comes to this one, I have to say that I can't see any evidence that they actually prefer these responsible men. They just want to separate those men from the resources they've earned. Because see, they'll take what these men earn and they'll turn around and spend it on these broken men. And that tells me everything. They don't love us. They don't like us. That we're not their first choice. We're not their preference in most cases. And being that kind of guy can make them, it can make a woman that does like you less or not at all. Thanks for listening. As always, black heart, black mind, black out, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual non-select male power just because they don't like it, and black patriarchy till extinction, a judgment.